Welcome to Old Rare Files. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, become a member, and like our content. A young survivor improvises shelter on a small raft after the USS Indianapolis sinking, 1945. Many crew members drifted at sea for days, facing hunger, thirst, and shark attacks. Destroyed homes and survivors among the wreckage after the devastating Johnstown flood in the United States, 1889. The disaster killed over 2,200 people and became one of the deadliest in U.S. history. Children working barefoot on industrial machines inside a textile factory, United States, early 20th century. Scenes like this helped drive labor reforms and laws against child labor. A man drinking from a segregated water fountain in the United States during the Jim Crow era, early 20th century. Signs marked separate facilities for white and black people, reflecting the institutionalized racial inequality of the time. Crowds of refugees disembarking from a ship at a European port after conflict, early 20th century. The scene reflects mass displacement and the harsh conditions civilians faced during times of crisis. Civilian being forced into a police vehicle during protest repression, Asia, 20th century. The scene shows the use of force by authorities amid social unrest and public demonstrations. Japanese surrender ceremony aboard the USS Missouri, BB-63, on September 10, 1945, officially marking the end of World War II. The image shows Allied and Japanese officials gathered during this historic moment. Paratroopers jumping from B-29 Superfortress bombers during a military operation in the 1940s. The scene shows troops being deployed into enemy territory, a common strategy in World War II airborne missions. Italian soldiers displaying a military flag during the invasion of Ethiopia, 1930s. The image reflects the expansionism of the Second Italo-Ethiopian War and Italy's presence in Africa. A police officer cuts a young man's hair in public in Japan during the 1970s, a practice sometimes used as a form of punishment or social discipline at the time. Women protest outside Calvary Church with segregationist signs during the Jim Crow laws period, 20th century. The scene highlights how even religious spaces were involved in racial tensions. Whoa! Crowd of Korean civilians mourning together in the early 1950s. Many were grieving lost or missing relatives, highlighting the profound impact of war on the civilian population. Workers carrying heavy loads in an open-pit mine, likely Serra Pelada, Brazil, 1980s. The site became known for its harsh conditions, where thousands of men endured intense labor, heat, and constant risks in search of gold. Workers eating soup in a shelter during the Great Depression. Many relied on charity to survive during one of the worst economic crises of the 20th century. Inside a cell at Attica Correctional Facility reveals the harsh living conditions inmates faced shortly before the 1971 uprising, marked by extreme tension and violent clashes that shocked the nation. Snow-covered streets and tangled power lines in New York City, possibly during the Great Blizzard of 1888, a storm that caused chaos and left a lasting mark on U.S. urban history. Workers standing on a rail car, surrounded by snow walls after clearing the tracks, early 20th century. The scene shows the human effort required to reopen routes in areas hit by severe snowstorm. Workers performing manual welding on a metal structure, early 20th century. The process required skill and minimal protection, reflecting industrial conditions of the time. Motorball match, soccer played with motorcycles, early 20th century. The sport combined speed and skill, with players maneuvering the ball using motorcycles on improvised fields, drawing large crowds. Acrobats balance on top of a building, with the Chrysler Building in the background, New York City, 1930s. These daring acts were often used for publicity and entertainment, drawing attention through risk. A Brazilian marathon runner being helped in the final meters during the Athens 2004 Olympic Games after an unexpected attack while leading the race. Despite the incident, he managed to finish, becoming a symbol of resilience. Runners compete in the marathon at the 1960 Rome Olympics, featuring Abebe Bikila, who won the race running barefoot, becoming the first African Olympic gold medalist. Dinosaur model being transported by crane during film production or exhibition, 1930s, 1940s, 1940s. These structures were used to create visual effects before the digital era. A dog wearing a protective mask, likely against gas, early 20th century. Such equipment was tested to protect military animals in chemical warfare environments. A medical kit with morphine and syringe, popularized in the 19th century. The combination of the drug with intravenous application revolutionized pain treatment, but also contributed to the early rise of dependency cases. A woman wearing a kang, a wooden restraint around the neck. China, late 19th or early 20th century. This device was used as a form of public punishment, exposing the condemned to shame and restricting movement. Archaeologists examining a mummy inside a sarcophagus in Egypt, early 20th century. The scene shows the study and preservation process of ancient human remains, revealing details about burial practices and life in ancient Egypt. A man driving a carriage pulled by two zebras, early 20th century. Zebras were sometimes experimented with as alternatives to horses due to their resistance to certain diseases. An experimental vehicle designed for polar exploration, mid-20th century. Equipped with massive wheels, it was built to travel across icy terrains where conventional vehicles could not operate. Prototype spacesuit used in early testing during the space race, 1950s, DISQI. The equipment represents early advances in protecting astronauts in extreme environments. Experimental suit testing during the space race in the 1950s, 60s, DII. Devices like this aim to simulate extreme conditions and prepare humans for space missions. A naval officer inspects a sea mine washed ashore during World War I. These explosives were used to block sea routes and remained highly dangerous even after drifting loose. Police officers enter an apartment through a window during an early 20th century urban operation in New York City, showcasing law enforcement tactics in densely populated areas. Mugshot of a teenage boy arrested in Newcastle, dated April 28, 1934. The image shows how even minors were processed by the justice system, often for minor offenses during the Great Depression. Baby in a window cage, a device used in large cities in the 1930s to allow children to get fresh air in apartments without yard. The practice was common despite the risks. Woman protecting a baby in a stroller during a heavy snowstorm. Early 20th century. The image illustrates the difficulties of urban life in extreme climates, where even simple planned tasks require effort and endurance. Women being instructed about swimwear on a beach, early 20th century. At the time, strict dress codes were enforced, and inspectors ensured bathing suits met accepted standards. An Easter Bunny costume used in a photo with children. United States, 1950s. At the time, holiday portraits were popular, but many costumes were handmade, often resulting in unusual or even unsettling images. Behind the scenes of a classic film production with actors in costume, 1930s. The image reveals the filmmaking process of early cinema, with detailed sets and distinctive costumes. Jack Nicholson rests, covered in snow, during the filming of The Shining, 1980, enduring freezing conditions, while portraying one of his most iconic roles. Iconic scene from Modern Times, 1936, starring Charlie Chaplin. The feeding machine represents a critique of industrialization and the dehumanization of labor. Fans crowd together to see an idol during the peak of pop culture in the 1950s, an era marked by stars like Elvis Presley and the rise of mass fan hysteria. Celebrity couple in a convertible being photographed by journalists, 1950s. The scene highlights the relationship between stars and the press, marking the rise of celebrity culture. A famous couple posing together in a candid moment during the 1960s. The image shows media and public attention around them, reflecting the rise of modern celebrity culture. A group of people in a convertible car in the United States, 1940s, 1950s. The license plate indicates California, and the scene reflects the lifestyle of the time when open-top cars were popular for leisure and cruising. Golden Gate Bridge covered in fog in San Francisco, USA. Opened in 1937, it became one of the most iconic landmarks of engineering and the American landscape. Well-dressed passengers disembark from a Qantas Empire Airways aircraft in the early days of commercial aviation. Air travel was once a luxury reserved for the elite, marked by formal attire and exclusive experiences. A mobile library on wheels in the 1920s, bringing books to rural areas. This service helped democratize access to reading in places without permanent libraries. Men demonstrating an Edison phonograph in the early 20th century. The device allowed sound recording and playback, becoming one of the first ways to bring music and recorded voices into homes. An inventor posing beside an early sound recording device, late 19th century. These machines marked the beginning of sound reproduction and revolutionized communication and entertainment. A woman lying in bed wearing glasses while reading, likely from the 1930s, 1940s. The image captures a quiet everyday moment, reflecting home life and reading habits of that era. A postman holding a baby in a studio portrait, early 20th century. The caption, "A sack of mail," creates a visual pun, comparing the mailbag to the child, reflecting the playful humor common in photography of that era. A man getting a haircut while a dog sleeps at his feet, likely from the 1920s, 1930s. The scene captures the relaxed atmosphere of a barbershop of the time, with personal service and simple daily life. A medium performing on stage in the early 20th century. Shows like this were popular in cafes and theaters, where individuals claimed supernatural abilities, attracting curious audiences seeking entertainment and mystery. German soldiers training to shoot while mounted on horses, early 20th century. This practice was part of cavalry training, allowing soldiers to maintain mobility while using firearms in open field combat. A man balancing on a post over the water while eating, 20th century. Scenes like this were often seen during casual moments or events near harbors and coastal areas. A group of tourists having tea on top of the Great Pyramid of Giza, 1930s. At the time, climbing the pyramids was allowed, and visitors would socialize atop one of the world's oldest monuments. An athlete training with emphasis on stride length and posture, mid-20th century. The image reflects the evolution of running techniques and physical preparation in modern athletics. A group of women practicing archery on a sports field, early 20th century. The image highlights organized female sports activities during a time of expanding opportunities for women in athletics. A police officer stopping traffic to let a cat cross the street, early 20th century. This curious scene highlights manual traffic control before modern traffic lights became widespread. A chef presents preserved ingredients in glass jars inside a restaurant, mid-20th century. Food preservation in jars was widely used to maintain flavor and shelf life before modern refrigeration became common. Group of women walking and talking in an urban setting, 1960s. The image highlights the fashion of the time, with structured coats and voluminous hairstyles, reflecting social and cultural shifts. Worker performing maintenance on a wooden roller coaster track, early 20th century. These structures required constant inspections to ensure safety in amusement parks. Two men talking in front of a rural house, Soviet Union, 1980s. On the left is a young security officer, while on the right is a local resident, capturing an everyday scene of Soviet life. Craftsmen pose beside a massive handmade ceramic vessel, showcasing the impressive scale of traditional craftsmanship. Such pieces often took weeks to produce and were used for large-scale storage. A futuristic UFO-style gas station in Japan, symbolizing post-war futuristic design. Such projects aim to attract attention and convey modernity during the space race era. Workers assemble motorcycles in a factory in the early 20th century, during the rise of mass industrial production. This era marked the growing popularity of motorized vehicles and the advancement of assembly line techniques. German soldiers in formation during World War II in the 1940s. Their strict discipline and standardized gear reflect the military structure of Nazi Germany at the time. A woman pulls a canal boat in Netherlands, a common practice in the 19th and early 20th century. Before engines, boats were often moved manually along canals. Women take part in firearms training in Chile during the 20th century. The image reflects times of political tension, when civilians were prepared for defense amid unrest. Art students sketch a live deer as a model in a classroom in the United States around the 1940s. This practice helped develop observation skills and realism in drawing.